She's got a rather unpleasant story that I think you should hear. And we're going to get into it real shortly, but before, I want to remind you, this book is a complete fabrication of falsehood and lies. And it's got the name of a former U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice Earl Warren. It's called the Warren Commission Report. I bought it 50 years ago, and it's pure bullshit. From beginning to end. Yeah, there's some real pictures that were taken in Dallas when JFK was assassinated, but it does everything to avoid the facts that the Vice President, Lyndon Baines Johnson, was in and an integral part of the murder, assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy. I want to say that again. This book by Philip F. Nelson, which has got information that was only just released 2 years ago, proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that Lee Harvey Oswald was set up. He was a complete patsy. He thought he was working for the CIA, because he did work for the CIA. He worked at the largest CIA operation in Japan, at an Air Force base called Atutsi, I think, where they ran the U-2 flights over the Soviet Union back in 1959 to 1963, when one of them theoretically got shot down. And Lee Harvey Oswald was at the Book Depository building in Dallas, but he had absolutely nothing to do with the killing of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963, which just happened to be the day I became a legal adult. I was 18 that day. They killed our president. But we were told Oswald did it, and it was a complete fabrication. It was a complete lie. This book goes into details that have been hidden. Details like LBJ stole the U.S. Senate election from Texas to become a U.S. Senator, just as he had stolen it to become a congressman. Then he used his influence illegally to place his buddies in strategic places in the USDA, got Henry Marshall, I think his name was, a USDA agent, murdered because he wouldn't allow the kickbacks, the illegal, criminal kickbacks to this a-hole, President Lyndon Baines Johnson, who should have gone to prison for his conspiracy to kill at least 8 people, at least, as he rose to the presidency, including his own sister. He had his own sister killed on Christmas Eve because she was a lush and a drunk and she slept around. She was bisexual. But worst of all, she had loose lips. Johnson wanted to be president since he was 11 years old. He was a crazy psychopath, but he knew how to put on the schmooze. And tonight, you're going to hear some victims, witnesses, to where police committed crimes. They're right here with me in the studio. So when you listen to this story, and you haven't seen it written up in a book and documented like Philip Nelson has done, and by the way, the CIA is not a government agency. It works under the title of being a government agency, and they all get U.S. government paychecks, but it really works for the big money boys, the bank gangsters. I'll name them: the Rockefellers out of New York, the Rothschilds out of Spain, England, actually the city of London, which is a separate city-state in the city of London, the banking district. That's who the CIA works for. They don't give a damn about you, me, America, our freedoms, they don't care. They assassinate people, and they get away with it over and over. They were in on it. And if I have one fault with Mr. Nelson's book, when he talks about the CIA, and I've almost finished it, I've gone through more than 2/3 of this book, line by line, and underlined it in yellow and gone to great detail to remember things. If there's one thing he made a mistake, so he wouldn't be killed is he didn't name George Herbert Walker Bush. The first President Bush is, in my opinion, the CIA agent that was orchestrating to make sure that John Fitzgerald's Kennedy body did not get an autopsy in Dallas. Now, of course, he needed the friends and influences, the judges and the sheriffs, which LBJ had in his hip pocket, because he had given them illegal money to do illegal things before. And Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ, knew he could count on these guys because he'd covered up murders of his own sister, who had no autopsy, and she's buried in less than 48 hours with no autopsy. She's killed on Christmas Eve and buried with no autopsy. 8 people killed, and then he takes down the president. Now, why he was able to get Clinton Murchison and the Hunts, all big money Texas people, to go along with us and fund it through that crooked attorney Ed Clark, not the libertarian Ed Clark from 1980 presidential campaign, attorney Ed Clark out of Texas, who got rewarded with an ambassadorship to Australia. How nice. You help kill a president, and then his successor, who's in on the conspiracy, gives you an ambassadorship. That's the level of our government 50 years ago. How much worse do you think it is today? Now it's in every state, in every county, cops are killing people.